poor, defenseless woman deserves all of that.
A. Evans was arraigned and a complaint was issued. The charge, forgery and passing a check without sufficient funds, each a felony. Upon his request, the court assigned me to his case. I contacted the police, secured the files and reviewed the evidence, and then saw Bill.
You've got to do something, Mr. Matthews. You've got to get me out of here.
I'll try.
I've told you I'm innocent. Don't you believe me?
I'd like to believe you,
You
Bill.
think I'm guilty just because one man identified me. Well, that's no proof.
I agree, but when he's backed up by 13 others...
What are you talking about?
You were identified by 14 witnesses.
That's insane. They've made a mistake. I don't know how
All
or why.
14 of them?
Yes, all 14.
Now, Bill, I want to help you, but you've got to tell me the truth. It's our job to defend you. If you're guilty...
But I'm not guilty, I tell you. This whole thing is like a nightmare, and I can't wake up. Won't you help me? Please. You've got to help me.
All right, Bill. We'll talk about it later. Right now, there's somebody who'd like to see you.
Madge, you know me. Tell Mr. Matthews I couldn't do a thing like this.
I never thought you could.
Madge, you don't think...
I don't know what to think. When Mr. Matthews told me you were in debt, I wouldn't believe him. Bill, why did you borrow the money and not tell me?
I didn't want you to worry.
What'd you use it for?
Madge, we've been living beyond our income for months.
But I could have gotten a job. We would have managed.
I didn't want you to work.
I would have rather worked than see you in prison.
Bill, if you did this, I'd advise you to admit it and plead guilty. You'll get a lighter sentence.
Listen to Mr. Matthews, please. He's a fine lawyer. He knows what's best.
Wait a minute. This is ridiculous. How can I make you believe me?
Please, Bill, I want you back home. I can't bear to think of you spending years behind prison bars.
Labeled a crook, a forger, by my wife, my lawyer, and 14 upright citizens. And there's nothing I can do about it. Or is there? What would I get if I pleaded guilty?
Well, with your good record and your reputation, and this being your first offense, you might get off with straight probation.
And if I don't, and they convict me?
Up to 14 years in the state penitentiary.
Mr. Matthews, I want you to enter a plea of not guilty.
Why?
Because I'm not guilty. I'd rather spend 14 years in prison than admit to a crime I didn't commit.
That's good enough for me.
I'm sorry, Bill.
Bill, I want you to know that I'm with you all the way. But it's going to be rough going with all that evidence against you.
Those witnesses were lying.
Now, in general, eyewitnesses don't lie. They can be mistaken for many reasons. You know, I've been able to disprove 1 or 2 witnesses before, but never have I had to tackle 14. Well, it won't hurt to try. As I prepared my case, I was well aware that the chances of an acquittal were slim. The best I could do was to prove the defendant's unquestionable honesty and background, line up character witnesses, and re-examine every detail. I also enlisted the services of Don Hamilton, handwriting expert from the police department. My talk with him gave me some hope.
I wish I could be more specific, but I've checked and rechecked these handwriting samples, and the best I can say is there's reasonable doubt.
I see. Look, Don, you and I have worked together many times trying to untangle the maze of circumstantial evidence.
We sure have.
Now, you know how I feel about this case. I'm convinced that my boy is clean. Now, off the record, what do you think?
Unless he's one of the cleverest forgers I've seen, my guess is he's innocent. And I'm perfectly willing to say so in court. But that's an opinion, remember?
Yeah, I know. Admissible as evidence, but qualified as opinion only when the judge instructs the jury.
Bill Evans isn't being tried right at this moment. Between the two of us, we'll turn something up yet.
Like the 14 witnesses who identified my client?
That's incredible.
Well, it's not the first time the wrong man has been pegged. There are dozens of cases where witness after witness got on the stand and swore an innocent man into prison. And in all sincerity.
Yeah.
The next day, I started early, interviewing the 14 witnesses who had identified Evans. Knowing that the underlying motive of a victim's testimony is often the wish to see justice done or to support other identifications, I proceeded with caution. Many were uncooperative, stating that they were witnesses for the prosecution, not the defense. I informed them that under the Constitution, a witness belongs to neither side. He belongs to the case.
I've said all that I have to say to the district attorney.
Here are the reservations for the lunch hour.
Now, if you will explain.
I guess this is your busy hour.
We're always busy. This is the finest restaurant in town.
So I understand.
All of the clubs meet here, and I mean the best ones.
Do they meet here often?
Regularly, once a month.
By the way, did my client ever cash any other checks in here?
No, thank goodness.
But you have seen him in here before.
Certainly not. I've only seen the man twice. The day that he cashed the check in here, and when I identified him at the police station.
Then you're sure you'd remember him if he had been in?
I'm positive. I never forget a face.
Well, we all make mistakes. Look, could it be that my client resembles the real forger and you recognized him because he was a customer here?
Look, I saw the man write that check right here.
You're sure it was Evans, the man you saw in the lineup?
Of course I'm sure. I identified him then, and I will again. And don't forget, I saw him write that check.
Yes?
Miss Biggs to see you, Mr. Matthews.
Who?
Miss Biggs.
Oh, certainly. Send her right in. How do you do, Mrs. Biggs? Won't you sit down?
Miss Biggs, if you don't mind.
I'm sorry to put you to the trouble of coming here, but I missed you several times at your shop, and I did want to see you.
I'm out a great deal. Mr. Matthews, I'm here for one reason only, to do my civic duty.
I appreciate that.
If you are laboring under the delusion that I am going to change my testimony, you're mistaken. The purpose of my visit is to straighten you out.
About what, Miss Biggs?
You are defending a man who is definitely guilty.
But a man is innocent until proven guilty. It's not up to you or me, but to a judge and jury.
I hope they won't be as prejudiced as you.
I'm not defending him, I'm representing him. A privilege given every American citizen.
It's a waste of taxpayers' money, hiring people like you to help the guilty escape punishment.
Miss Biggs, you were very positive in your identification of my client. Do you think you could identify him again?
Oh, what a ridiculous question. Of course.
Very well. Now, which one of these men is William Evans?
That one.
James W. Conroy. Age 32, height 5 feet 10, weight 160 pounds, color white. Now serving sentence at the state penitentiary.
Oh, well, all these pictures confuse me. I tell you, it was Evans I saw in the lineup. And I could tell him again if I'd see him face to face.
The final chapter, The People versus William Evans, began in Superior Court. The prosecution presented a strong case based on circumstantial evidence and the sworn testimony of eyewitnesses. All I had to present was honesty, integrity, and what I believed to be the truth. But I had to find some means of finding a hole in that circumstantial evidence and the sworn testimony of these people. The second day of the trial, after court adjourned,